recruiting, we talk a lot in our industry about the candidate experience, about communicating with our candidates, about giving them an update, and about surely not ghosting them, because in the future, we don't want to be ghosted. So back in 2019, towards the end of the year, I had spent some time with a candidate specifically for our organization, Qualigence International. And I thought I had closed the loop with that particular candidate. And a number of things must have happened, because I just don't remember not closing the loop. I probably had my assistant at the time to close the loop, but here's the reality of it. No matter what, it's my responsibility, as I was the person that actually interviewed that candidate. So I never heard anything back after not communicating. And then about 4 weeks ago, I received a text from a good friend of mine who happened to run into this individual. And she mentioned, hey, Steve never responded back to me in 2019 when I interviewed her, when we had that conversation. And I was flabbergasted when I got that. I went through all of my records. I literally couldn't find anything about this individual. I vaguely remembered the interview, but for some reason everything was gone. Again, that's relatively irrelevant. But it shows the importance of the candidate experience, whether you're the hiring leader, whether you're the recruiter. And it wasn't on purpose. We strive to communicate with every one of our candidates, but something fell through the cracks. And more than a year and a half later, that potentially came up in a conversation that was unrelated. It's a small world that we lived in, or that we live in. Now, I took the initiative. I reached out to the individual, called that individual, and last week had the opportunity to apologize to that candidate. Doesn't change the circumstances from a year and a half ago, but it definitely changes the impression, the reputation that I believe she had of us and our organization for not responding. And the fact that I reached out and said, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened, but no matter what, it's my responsibility. It's not about perfection in the candidate experience. It's about progress in the candidate experience and being able to admit when something falls through the cracks, because it will. We try everything to make sure nothing and nobody falls through the cracks. But it's just another example of the importance of that candidate interaction, that candidate experience. Now, would it have mattered in the long run about our brand, about what we do? Maybe not, but it's irrelevant. The point is, one person heard that I didn't close the loop with the candidate. One person heard that I let that individual fall through the cracks. And one person felt like they weren't important because we didn't close the loop. And no matter how you look at it, that's wrong. So I'm thankful that she was able to say something to this person that we have friends with, or that we're friends with in common, and that I was able to pick up the phone, talk to that individual, and apologize. So here's the question. What's the impression? What's the experience you're leaving candidates? Because most of the time, you won't have the same opportunity I had to make it right, or to at least apologize. Think about that in every interaction